And I think that's really important that members of Congress, this is not about me. This is about attacking our institutions. It's about ensuring that we have loyal opposition and that we're able to speak freely, particularly within our own Congress. I mean, we made those remarks, of course, moments after we had left the committee hearing. And so what's really critical at this moment, I think, for all of us to understand is that we should be allowed to speak freely. And we certainly should be allowed to use figures of speech. And anyone that watches that can see that was a figure of speech or a metaphor in the way we're describing this fight. And it is a fight. This is a fight for democracy.
Yes, the DOJ sent out warning to this Democrat congressman. He went on CNN sending a threat to Elon Musk. Everybody noticed that. I think I did the video about that. If you never saw that video, first take a look at this.
Why? But do you think that calling Elon Musk is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
Well, he isn't. And I think he's also harming the American public in an enormous way. And what I think is really important, and what the American public want, is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight for democracy, for the future of this country. And it's important to push back on the chairperson of this committee. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene talks about having decorum, about bipartisanship. This is the person that lies more than anybody else in the entire Congress. And so if she is going to make a mockery of hearings, I want to make sure that us as Democrats are bringing that same level of energy. And of course, after those comments, we went into exactly what Elon Musk is trying to do: dismantling the Department of Labor, dismantling the Department of Education, dismantling all of our consumer protection agencies. And so it's all important, but it's also important to get the attention of the American public and call Elon Musk out for what he is, and to make people know that Marjorie Taylor Greene is not a serious legislator and she shouldn't be treated as such.
Now, going into this, Democrat Representative Robert claimed the DOJ is trying to chew his free speech and intimidate him by asking for clarification on vowed reality toward Dodge and Elon Musk. It is insane to even talk about this. It is pretty clear that they are trying to not just intimidate me, but intimidate other members of Congress who are criticizing Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They want to investigate me for essentially using a metaphor and for taking on Elon Musk. To be clear, Robert said he planned to bring actual work to Congress to fight
Elon Musk out for what he is.
In response to those comments, the Trump Justice Department engaged in what appears to be a bit of an unprecedented effort to scare or silence the congressman, or both. Acting U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., Ed Martin, who I would note also was a defense lawyer for the January 6th insurrectionists, sent a letter to Garcia asking him to clarify his comments. But as former U.S. Attorney Barbara McQuade said, it seems like a fair inference that these letters are designed more to chill free speech than to seek clarification, as they purport to do. And California Congressman Robert Garcia joins me now. Congressman, I find it quite rich that the free speech warriors at the Trump Justice Department would be so worked up about a metaphor you used on CNN. Obviously, there's no bar fight. No one's bringing weapons anywhere. But what do you think they are trying to do here?
I mean, it's pretty clear that they are trying to not just intimidate me, but intimidate other members of Congress who are actively opposing and criticizing Donald Trump and Elon Musk from actually speaking. And it's crazy that they want to investigate me for essentially using a metaphor and for taking on Elon Musk. And I think what's really disturbing in this moment is that we know that we've got to fight fire with fire. We know we've got to bring the energy to this fight as Elon Musk is raiding the federal treasury to give himself and his billionaire buddies a tax cut. And they want to police that language. They want to stop us from fighting back. And so, look, we take this threat seriously. At the same time, we're not going to be silenced by Elon Musk or by Donald Trump.
This feels to me, I just was talking about Russia earlier, propaganda, so it's a natural flow into that. I mean, this feels like a classic MAGA case of trying to flip the script. Right? Even Ed Martin suggesting Democrats are trying to threaten Doge workers. How do you're not going to stand down, as you said, but how do you stop them from getting away with this effort to flip the script?
Well, first of all, we got to call it out. I mean, it's crazy that this is the same U.S. Attorney who, of course, defended January 6th insurrectionists. Donald Trump wants to pardon January 6ers, but then he wants to police metaphors and figures of speech by members of Congress who also have constitutional protections. This is clearly a clear authoritarian move to silence critics and people that are criticizing what Elon Musk is actually doing, raiding and attacking Medicare, attacking the Department of Education, trying to destroy any climate progress we've had in this country. And so I think that at this moment, I understand that while they've targeted me, it's not really about me. This is about silencing members of Congress and silencing critics. And so we can't do is we can't retreat. We can't pull back. We've got to double down. We've got to fight hard. There is absolutely no way that this letter is going to silence me. He's given me till Tuesday to respond to his ridiculous demands. And so, we'll be responding appropriately, but it's not going to be by staying silent.
How are you going to respond?
Well, we're talking, of course.
Yes, you can clearly see this guy is struggling to play the victim card here. I'm seeing it clearly. I understand this is the tactics they use every single time, but it is shameful. If you have done something like this, you need to, apologize. I don't know what he actually meant by saying this, but a lot of people took this seriously. And you cannot tell me it's a metaphor. This is what he sent out on X. So if you criticize Elon Musk, Trump, DOJ will send you this letter. Members of Congress must have the right to forcefully oppose the Trump administration. I will not be silent. They just send him a warning. They're already panicking like this. I don't know if this lady will proceed to actually deal with someone like this. I saw AIC the other day. Oh, they are investigating me because I was saying things directing illegal immigrants to do. I just laughed all through. They know that because they are members of Congress, they can say anything. They can just, these are the same people who call for justice for everyone who commit a crime. Now, when they do it, they will say, oh, it's because of this, play the victim card. I understand that tactics. It is not working. This is a Trump administration. They need to watch their word.
Now we're at that point.
We went with our seventh-string quarterback, and we lost by 1.5 and we actually picked up a congressional seat. So if you're asking me, did I think that she was going to win, and she didn't win? Yes, all the polling showed it even. It turned out to be a 1.5 race. And you lost seats, but if you have, and I'm telling the Democrats, just sit there, play possum, let them go, let them go, let them go. Poll numbers are declining. The collapse is already underway. Let's see when they put the Medicaid budget, when they put the $4.5 trillion of tax cuts to wealthy people. Just let the ball come to you. We don't need to be aggressive now.
Really been the one to call it out. The fact that I'm rooting for Canada and I'm rooting for Mexico a lot is really wild. But they are really the ones that are speaking truth to power right now. They can see what it is, and they were like, we are not messing with this crazy regime from Mar-a-Lago, and basically calling them thugs. That's what it is. But I'm like, y'all knew who he was when y'all elected him. So don't act surprised.
When did I say, hey, we need another agency next to NASA? Yeah. So when did we start paying for his stuff?
You talk about SpaceX overseeing FAA?
No. You know that he's going to be cutting NASA.
Yeah.
That's the competition. So what is the real deal here? If we want to cut some money, let's cut some of these. I'm okay with that. Follow the money. Because we have to pay for it. You are paying for everything he sends up that comes back down, that falls back down and breaks up. That's out of our pockets. We'll be right back.
Unbelievable. Well, here's the answer to her question, because Robbie Starbuck answered it perfectly. She wanted to know, when did we start paying for Elon's stuff and SpaceX? And the answer is 2008, because one of the only things Republicans and Obama agreed on back then was that SpaceX could do what NASA did 20 times better and for less than a 20th of the cost.
Oh, go figure. Whoopi should have looked that up before she ran her mouth about it.
He is already king.
Thank you guys for always been sharing out my videos. If you notice, I always put clips at the end of my videos. That is for the algorithm. I understand people usually complain, but please, He helps the channel.
So companies would hide under this idea.
Mainstream media cannot ever say that anything this administration is doing is positive. So even if they find unbelievable corruption,
was digging through essentially the way that money is audited within the government, links to payments, outgoing payments, budget line items. So this payment goes out. What is it for?
What I've learned from this is that if you are not guilty of anything, you will not panic.
Thug, who is the president of the United States, U.S., it's everywhere.
There is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits.
A chance to see what happens when you take a business approach to the government.
Also, I got to say, don't you agree? I totally agree.
Essential.
Early on, immediately.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
To her.
No, the EU does not treat the U.S. fairly on trade and that he has some big complaints. Is that true?
Right? And it doesn't mean that we should sit and pretend that it's suddenly okay, that this new presidency is just going to keep on keeping on. That is not the case. And
awful things have happened. So and sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have.
Future president and his gag
are quality and policy.
The city of the Pacific Palisades is burning. And, I flew here last night. I was on a plane.
You getting water to areas that need...
He's been trained his whole life to do.
What do we do?
All right, right now you're looking straight. Remember it.
As a country about James.
Yeah, and then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel. I don't know.
Jim Jordan.
Josh Green, the governor.
Watch news or talk.
Now, look, I have a lot of...
The Democratic Party has about everything.
The next department that appears to be on the chopping block is the Department of Education. Just earlier today...
Thank you. Hey, now speaking of church, can I...
In common, they're all terrified of Ronan Farrow.
Is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires.
On Team Chiefs. Literally right next to us was Taylor Swift. Those are boo.
So Trump has been in power for just a month.
I do not care that Elon Musk is unconventional.
And you people still don't get it.
Listen,
and he deserves the credit for it.
So, James,